Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jamber. Today, we got a pretty good lineup of things to talk about. We're starting off with the retirement of the greatest, possibly the greatest broadcaster of all time, Lee Corso. Then we're jumping to the NBA, talk about the play-in, how it's been so far, how the games went, and the games tonight. We'll talk about that all in that one segment. After that, we're jumping to the NFL. The draft is coming up. Talk about that. Then we're staying with the NFL. Talk about the Cleveland Browns, what they should do, what's going to happen over there. And then ending, going back to the NBA with Nico Harrison. We're going to talk about just Nico Harrison. Nico Harris, whatever you want to call him. Just talk about what he's been doing over there in Dallas. Yeah. Before we get into all that, though, tips and donations. Tips and donations are always greatly appreciated. By tipping and donating, it shows you guys care about the content that we are putting out, and we are putting out the best content that we possibly can. So by tipping and donating, it really means you guys do care. So if you really want to tip or donate to show your appreciation, if you're in the live stream, super chat and sticker are the best way to do that. And if you're not in the live stream, if you're like watching on YouTube or listening, the links in the bio description also are the best way to do so. Even if you don't want to watch the live stream or anything like that. If you're not, don't want to donate, leave a comment in the comment section of the YouTube video. I'll see that as soon as I can and get to that. If you're in the live stream, I will see it right away and answer that almost as soon as I see it. So feel free to do that. I love talking to you guys. That's my job. So feel free to do that. And like I said, even if you don't want to tip or donate, or if you do want to tip or donate, feel free to with the two links in the bio if you're watching this not in the live stream or listening. And if you're in the live stream, super chat and stickers are the best way to do that. With that being said, let's get into the content for the first segment. First segment, like I said, the retirement of possibly the greatest broadcaster of all time. Before we get into that, the shirt is kind of like tweaking out the camera. It looks like a little, I don't know, it's like staticky. It's like striped. So sorry if you're watching and your eyes are hurting. I might change the shirt after this segment. I actually didn't realize how disgusting it is. Not disgusting, but eye hurting it is. But whatever. Lee Corso, college game days, proud father. I mean, he's been on it since it started in 1984 when he came on the ESPN, and he's been running the show. He's been doing college game day since as long as it's been around, and he's the staple of it. I mean, when you think college game day, you're thinking Lee Corso. If you're not, maybe Kirk Herbstreit or Charles Woodson, but Lee Corso is definitely the first one that comes to your mind. And at the young age of 89 years old, he has decided, I've given it all I have. I'm done. I'm done. And totally understandable. He has been doing this for so long, done such a good job with it as well, that we all knew for years now it was only a matter of time. And he kept giving it the best that he possibly could and the best that he had. And he's retiring. He's doing one more game, week 1 of the 2025-2026 college football season. He's doing week 1, Texas versus Ohio State. And I kind of assumed if he were to retire, he would retire on an Ohio State game. He loves that school. He loves the Buckeyes. Anytime the Buckeyes play, he would choose their head. He would be, if it's college game day, if it's game of the week, he's choosing the Buckeyes. I mean, he loves them. He loves the school. So, Lee Corso, I mean, he's just one of the greatest of all time. No one could say otherwise. He's been doing it, like I said. He came on to ESPN as an analyst in 1989. And he worked his way up through the ranks. He worked his way up through the broadcasting. He started with how the broadcasting career goes. You start small, work long hours, and when you're tenured enough, when you've been there a while, you start moving to the bigger games, doing less, like you having to do less work. And Lee Corso's only job for the past 15 years or so has just been college game day. And he's done a great job with that. Lee Corso, through his time in college game day, he's come up with, he's had shows in some of the, he's putting the head on. He's putting the mascot head on, choosing the team that he wants to win. He's some of the most, the teams he chose the most. Ohio State Buckeyes, that was his go-to. I'm pretty sure out of every team he's ever chosen, Ohio State has the most wins from, he's chosen the most of. Second was Alabama. I think he chose 28 times from a stat that I saw. He had LSU and Florida in there a lot as well. I mean, Lee Corso was just one of the greatest. He's just one of the best on-camera guys ever. He was a great dude, had a lot of energy all the time. He was just always there to make you smile. And when you were watching College Game Day, it was always your day would just be like brightened right away. It would start early in the morning. And Lee Corso, he was up and at him. He was ready to just talk sports. That's what he does. He's like, what? I mean, obviously he does it a lot better than I do. But Lee, I mean, we did it. We do it because he loved it, and that's why I do it as well. But he did it because he loved the game, and there's nothing more that there's nothing bad that can be said on Lee Corso. Lee Corso is just one of the greatest of all time. He came up, with the iconic quote, "Not so fast, my friend." I mean, anytime he had an opinion, him or someone else differed from one of his opinions, he'd say his classic line, "Not so fast, my friend," and then they would just give you on debating him and Kirk Herbstreit. Just loved to debate Charles Woodson, everybody, all of his, even when he had guests on. I mean, he would just love to debate Nick Saban as well. Nick Saban's one of his. He'd love to debate with Saban because there's two of the all-time greats in what they do. Nick Saban's the greatest college football coach of all time. Lee Corso, one of the greatest broadcasters of all time. I mean, they're just profound and well respected in their work, and they just argued all the time. And then, obviously, his main thing, what everybody knows him for, like I said earlier, the heads. Lee Corso would always just end. It would always end. The final segment of College Game Day would be, all right, who are we choosing, for the final game, the game of the week. Let's say it's like the Big Ten championship, Oregon, Ohio State. A lot of people was mixed. Ohio State, Oregon, no one really knew. Obviously, at the end, we all know Oregon got manhandled by Ohio State. But Lee Corso puts on the Buckeye helmet. He puts on I'm not sure what it's called. It's just the Buckeye helmet. And he puts on the mascot, and, he starts singing the Ohio State fight song. He starts, O-H. All the fans going, I-O. I mean, it was a great time. Lee Corso is just one of the most energetic, one of the nicest dudes you've ever heard, ever seen on camera. And when you lose, the staple of college football, it really does, it's not going to affect the viewership, but it's going to feel missing. I mean, obviously you got obviously Charles Woodson, Nick Saban, Kirk Herbstreit. I mean, you got all of these guys, and especially, the guests they bring on. I mean, you got guys like Timothy Chalamet coming on. That comedian from Notre Dame, I forgot his name, but he's hilarious. I mean, you get these phenomenal broadcasters to surround him, and when he leaves, you're like, watching it from now on, and you say, dang, I miss Lee Corso. I mean, he's been around forever. Like I said, came in 1989, started doing the show a few years into his time at ESPN, and he's loved it. And losing, the godfather of college football game day. I mean, it's not going to feel the same without the great Lee Corso. But he is, like I said, at the young age of 89, he's given it all he had, all the time that he had, and he gave it the best. Every time he was on camera, he was always smiling, always, giving it the best he had. And ending it with his favorite school, Ohio State, against Texas Longhorns in the week 1. It's going to be a great game. That's going to be a great game to watch. But him ending it, with his team that he favors the most, the team that he loves the most, is a great thing for him to go out on, just, celebrating his team, the team that he grew up loving, the game that I believe he played football there. I mean, I believe he went there or played football there. I forgot which one it was. But, I mean, he's just a great commentator, one of the greatest people to ever announce, any sport. And losing him is definitely going to be a big impact on, college football in general, but not only that, College Game Day. It'll still be a great watch. People are still going to watch College Game Day, like I said. It's just going to be a matter of, dang, is Lee Corso really gone? And not much, you can't do anything about it. He gave it all he had for as long as he did, and he did it phenomenal. No one ever was mad at Lee Corso for anything, and he's just one of the nicest guys I've ever seen. It really does suck that you lose, one of the greats like that, just out of retirement on a random Thursday on April 17th. And April 17th, 2025, you lose one of the greatest broadcasters of all time to retirement, which does suck, but that just does pave the way for these younger generation of guys to come in, fill their spot. And he's going to have a great retirement, and he deserves it completely, and he just had a great career. So congratulations to Lee Corso on a phenomenal career, and we're all wishing him the best after his time at College Football Game Day. That's all I got for the first segment. Next segment, we're going to the NBA, talking about the play-in. After that, flipping it to the NFL. Drafts coming up. Talk about that. After that, we're going to the Cleveland Browns, staying with the NFL. What's going to happen with them? Who are they going to pick? Who are the best team options for them? And then after that, we're going back to the NBA, but we're talking GM, Nico Harrison. And then we're going to end it off that. We'll get back to all that after the break.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown. Get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jammer. As you can tell, if you're watching the live stream or video, I did not change my shirt. I'm sticking with it. You're going to have to deal with it. If it hurt in your eyes, I'm sorry. You're just going to have to listen tonight, I guess. Sorry. But first segment, talk about Lee Corso, his retirement from college football game day, losing one of the greats. This segment, the NBA play-in, talk about the games that's happened so far, and the games happening tonight and the rest of the play-in, see where these teams land. After that, we're going to the NFL, talking the draft. Then we're going to the Cleveland Browns, ending off with Nico Harrison. Before we get into all that, though, tips and donations. Tips and donations are always greatly appreciated. By tipping and donating, it really means you guys care about the content that we are putting out. And if you do want to tip or donate to show you guys care and appreciate what we do, if you're in the live stream, super chat and sticker. And if you're not in the live stream, watching, or just listening, the 2 links in the bio description are the best way to do that. Even if you don't want to tip or donate, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section of the YouTube video, or if you're in the live stream, in the live chat. I'll see that literally as soon as you type it up, so I can get to it as soon as you can. I love talking to you guys. That's my job. So please feel free to leave a comment. I'll see that and just talk sports. That's what I'm here for. That's what I like to do. So I'm doing that's why I'm doing this. So like I said, feel free to comment if you don't want to tip or donate. But if you do want to tip or donate, if you're in the live stream, super chat and stickers. And if you're not in the live stream, watching this on YouTube or just listening to it, the 2 links in the bio and description will definitely lead you to the right path to be able to do that for us. With that being said, let's get into the second topic, the NBA play-in. The NBA play-in of the loser grounds last night, or the 9 and 10 games. Sorry, the 9 and 10 games happened last night. You got the Chicago Bulls, Miami Heat, and then you got the Dallas Mavericks, Sacramento Kings. And to keep it blankly, yeah. Sure, we'll go with that word. They were both blowouts. I mean, they both weren't close for most of the games. Both games ended up just being, not really close. I mean, yeah, Dallas won by 14, 120 to 106. And then Miami won by 109 to 90, so a 19-point win. And we'll talk about them, just individually as a game. So we'll talk about the Eastern Conference first. We'll talk about the Bulls versus the Heat. I had said yesterday I had Miami Heat winning this game. Luckily, I was right. I said that no matter how good Josh Giddey's been playing since All-Star break, they're just not a good enough team to beat the Miami Heat. And I was right. Josh Giddey did have a double-double, though. He had a good stat line. 25 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. I mean, he had a good game. Regardless, yeah, they lost, but he had a good game. And that is the 3rd straight season where the Miami Heat have knocked the Chicago Bulls out of the play-in, which means we should not be allowing the Bulls or the Heat to make the play-in anymore. It's the same 4 teams in the East, the same 3. It's always the Hawks, the Bulls, and the Heat. It's always those same 3. Maybe add the Hornets. The Magic made it this year, so congrats to them. But that's always just some random other team in the play-in. But Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, the Miami Heat have knocked them out of the playoffs. The Miami Heat are now playing the loser from the 7-8 game, so they're playing the Hawks. But let's talk about the game, just talk more about that game. So, like I said, Giddey had 25, 10, and 4. Pretty good game from him. Kobe White had a pretty good game point-wise. He had 17 points, only put up 2 boards and 5 assists. That's not a horrible game. Pretty good, He's making plays around the game for him. I also didn't really watch this game that much, so I'm just basically looking off stats. I'm not really sure how, exactly the game went, how good the players are playing, just without stat watching, stat padding, all that. But Nikola Vukovic had a pretty good game as well. 16, 12, and 1. I mean, he averages like a double-double, so that's expected. But like I said yesterday, him and Bam were going to be a great matchup in the paint. Watching those two go at it are always, just two good bigs. I mean, watching two good big men putting up battles in the paint are always fun to watch, and I was right. Because Bam had himself also a double-double. 15 points, 12 boards, 3 assists. Pretty similar stats to Vukovic. I mean, obviously they were battling in the paint all game, getting aggressive, and he won the game because of it. Talk about the player of the game, though. Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero, 38 points, 5 boards, and 4 assists. I mean, 38 points is unreal. He had the most points in the play-in this year, will tie with Jimmy Butler for 38. But still, I mean, Tyler, like I've been saying yesterday, I said this yesterday and previous weeks as well, Tyler Hero is still a better player than Josh Giddey, even post-All-Star break. Tyler Hero has been that guy. He's been with the Heat every year. They made the playoffs, made those deep playoffs runs, and he just knows how to play the game. And Tyler Hero has been playing good basketball all year round. And yeah, his team, his record didn't show it, but they also were hurt most of the year. They lose their best player, Jimmy Butler. A lot of their guys are hurt for a while, and the record does show, a losing record in a weaker Eastern Conference. But if you look at Tyler Hero's stats all year, he was playing good basketball. And obviously you can see dropping 38 points against, in a playoff game. It's really good for your rating as a player. Like 38, 5 and 4, helping your team win by they won by 19, and he's a part of that third. I mean, out of the 109 points, put up 38. I mean, dang, that's like almost, I wouldn't say half. It's like a quarter of your points right there. It's like a quarter of your points just from your one guy. That's always a huge help. And then Andrew Wiggins also had a good game. People forget he got traded to the Heat with that Miami Jimmy Butler trade. He had a good game as well. 29 and 2. Another 20 points. I mean, when you get multiple guys a game putting up 20 points, 20 plus points, at least 2 guys putting up 20 plus, that's always going to help your cause. Especially even like Bam. I mean, you have 3 guys putting up 15 plus points. That's always a huge help to your cause. I mean, that's quick math, 35 plus 38, 73 points right there. Just off those 3 guys, out of your 109 points total, they dropped 73 of your points. That's huge for you. That's a huge help for you and your team, and that's why they won the game. You could look at, the Bulls stats as well, and a lot of the guys in the Bulls, even the 3 I mentioned, Vukovic, Kobe White, and Josh Giddey, they all had good games, but I didn't even mention their starting 5. Everyone on their starting 5 had at least 10 plus points, and their bench just didn't do it for them. Their bench did not play good. That's why they lost that game. But if their bench played somewhat good, like a little better, they probably would have won that game. So now we got, in the Eastern Conference, we now got the Miami Heat playing the Atlanta Hawks tonight for the 8th seed. And I have Miami Heat winning this game because, like I said yesterday, they're a better team. They're a better team than the Hawks. Bam Adebayo is better center than Clint Capella. Tyler Hero and Trae Young, that'll be a good battle. Andrew Wiggins has been hooping the entire year. Him and Dyson Daniels, that'd be a good matchup as well. But I do think Miami Heat win that game and get the 8th seed to then go on to play the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round of the Eastern playoffs. Now let's go to the Western Conference game. The Dallas Mavericks versus the Sacramento Kings. This game was a blowout most of the game, honestly. I mean, they won by 14, but they were up by 25 at one point. The Dallas Mavericks, And overall, it was a fun game to watch. I mean, just seeing, a lot of these big name guys a lot of big name players are on the Kings and the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, you guys got for the Mavericks, Anthony Davis, easily one of the best centers in the league. He dropped 27, 9 and 1, almost a double-double, but he dropped 30 points basically on a very good defensively sound Kings team. And like I said yesterday, watching him and Sabonis would be one of the best things we would see last night, between the play-in games, between the play-in in general. And I was right. Sabonis had 11, 13, and 5. Both of them were just getting boards, putting up points. I mean, Sabonis obviously had a lot less points than Anthony Davis, but he had more boards, and so they were fighting in the paint all game for boards, and it was getting aggressive, getting chippy, and I love it. I'm happy to see that I was happy to see that I was right with that prediction of saying it'd be a good matchup between the two, and I'm happy I was right with that because I was right. Thank God. Klay Thompson, 23, 5, and 2. Klay Thompson dropping another 20-point game. I mean, Klay Thompson's been hooping recently, and I'm excited to see that they're doing good. Especially Klay Thompson, coming to the Dallas Mavericks, looking to win. He had Kyrie and Luka. He wanted to come over here. Luka got traded. Kyrie got hurt. Well, he came for nothing, but he's been hooping still. I mean, at the end of the day, he's still been hooping for the Mavericks, and I'm happy to see that he's still playing well because toward his end tenure at the Golden State, he wasn't playing nearly as well as he was in the past. So seeing him hoop again like this is a really good thing to see because I love Klay Thompson. So seeing him play this good is really nice. PJ Washington had a nice game as well. 17, 9, and 4, starting forward or one of the starting guards for Dallas, and he had a great game. You feel like you don't really hear a lot about a lot of these Dallas players are kind of random players, but I wouldn't say PJ Washington is one of them. But their team is just so hurt they're getting these other guys chances to play, and seeing PJ play almost a double-double, where he had 9 boards, is a great sight. So Dallas Mavericks are playing really good basketball right now. Also, Brandon Williams off the bench for the Mavs, 17 boards, 5 assists. I mean, you get guys off the bench dropping 17, you're going to win games. It's always a huge help, like I said, when you have depth in the playoffs and you have these guys coming off the bench helping you shoot and win games. And dropping 17 off the bench, 15. If you're coming off the bench dropping 15 plus, you should be winning a game, realistically. And so seeing him come off the bench, drop 17, and help them win by 14, that's a huge help for them. About the Kings for a minute. Sacramento Kings, they were home, and you can't lose at home, and they lost at home. I wouldn't say it's the bench's fault, but I am going to say that. Because when you got DeMar DeRozan dropping 33, 7, and 2, Levine, 23 and 9, Sabonis, 11, 13, and 5, and you have, between all those guys right there, you got 66 points right there between the 3 of them alone, and you had 50 points between the other 12 guys in your roster. It's not a good look. No one else on the Kings scored more than 10 points, I believe, other than those 3. And their bench played bad. Keegan Murray did not play good. Ellis, one of the other guards on Sacramento, did not play good. I mean, the team overall just wasn't built for the play. They just don't really do well in the play-in, playoffs. They don't really make it far. But, you would think that with these trades they made in the offseason, getting Levine, or, the free agency, getting Levine, I mean, you think that helped them out a lot. It really didn't help them out as much as they thought it would. Hopefully next year they're going to come in and be better because, they got, the players not just, halfway through the season. They're some of their best players, some of their starters. They have them for the full year. And having DeMar, Levine, Sabonis, Keegan Murray, that's going to be a good squad. I'm excited to see how they play next year. But that's not next year. That's right now. And they lost, which sucks. But next year they'll be a good team. Now I got Dallas versus Memphis tomorrow for the play-in for the Western Conference to the 8 seed. And I have Dallas winning. I think Anthony Davis is a lot better player than Edey. Klay Thompson can hoop again like he did last night. They'll win. John Morant's been hooping, though. I mean, it'll be a great game to watch defensively. The Memphis Grizzlies are a great defensive team. And it's going to be a great game to watch regardless. But I do think the Dallas Mavericks will win, and I hope they do. Because if Memphis loses, they're probably going to do a clean sweep. Like, John Morant might be gone. Might trade some of their players. I'm not sure. But I do want to see Dallas win without Luka. And they can prove that they can do it without Luka. Even Kyrie as well. Kyrie and Anthony Davis healthy duo is going to be filthy next year. And seeing Anthony Davis hoop right now by himself, basically with the help of Klay Thompson and the other guys, it's great to see them do that. So I do hope Dallas wins, and they will end up playing, hopefully, the OKC Thunder in the first round of the NBA playoffs. That's all I got for this segment. Next segment, we're going to the NFL draft coming up. Talk about that. Who's going to go where probably. Going to the Cleveland Browns after that for second number 4. Ending off with Nico Harrison, the GM for the Dallas Mavericks. We'll get to all that after the break.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jambert. First two segments, we talk about Lee Corso retiring and the NBA play-in. This segment, we're kicking it over to the NFL. The NFL draft coming up. They're kicking it like the NFL kickers kick the ball. Okay, I was stupid. Fourth segment, we're talking about the Browns. Ended off with Nico Harrison, the GM for the Dallas Mavericks. Okay, NFL draft. Let's talk about it. NFL draft next week. Green Bay. It's gonna be a good one. A lot of good names in this draft. A lot of the teams already know who they're gonna take. But with injuries, with maybe players' draft stock falling, you never know who's gonna go where. So I want to talk about who do I think is gonna go where, who's gonna pick who. Let's talk about that briefly. So we already have the first three players guaranteed to get drafted. Most likely, we already know the first three. And those three, obviously, Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter. Cam Ward is already a Titan. I mean, he should already be in the practice facility wearing pads and with a jersey on. He already should. There was a clip of him yesterday. This was hilarious. Clip of him yesterday on Fortnite on Fortnite. And he's playing with, I forgot who, probably some friends or randoms, I don't know. But the randoms or friends asked him, who do you think the best running backs in the league are? And he goes, let me think about that. Tony Pollard and Tayshaun Spears. That's it, just those two. And if you know NFL, you know those are the two main running backs for the Tennessee Titans. So he's basically already admitting that, yeah, I'm going to be a Titan, which is honestly a good pick. He's going to fit well into that system. If they can, draft some O-line to help him as well, because you saw at Miami how good of a quarterback he is with a good O-line. Granted, every quarterback's going to be good with an O-line that's really good, but you really saw he is so calm and collected in the pocket when he has a decent O-line surrounding him with no pressure. He just stands there. He literally just stands in the pocket, moves his hips a little bit, looks around, and just throws it. I mean, it's all he does, and it just works. So if the Titans could build, maybe make some trades, maybe, draft some good O-line for him, the Titans are going to be really good this year. They're going to be a very good team with a good running back core, a good young QB. It's going to be very interesting to see how they pair him up. What they do for him, if they try to build around him, which they should, we'll have to wait and see. Then we got the 2 and 3 spots. 2, obviously, is for the Cleveland Browns, who had the second worst record in the NFL. The third is for the New York Giants. Who's going to go where? Sorry, I got a little itch in my nose. So like I said, the 2 and the 3 spot, Browns and Giants. But then you got guys Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. Abdul Carter, the best DN in the draft out of Penn State. Travis Hunter, Heisman winner, two-way player for Colorado. And both teams need either one of them because they both fit their systems perfectly well, just really well. You got, let's say the Browns draft Abdul Carter, him and Myles Garrett. The Myles Garrett, is on one side of the D-line, Abdul Carter the other. And having that paired up, having a Hall of Fame D-end, by the way, the D-end to reach the fastest D-end to ever reach 100 sacks, and, a young, these Penn State guards or these Penn State D-ends come out of freaking natures. I mean, they're always amazing. And you get this, the Penn State, I don't know if you know this if you're listening or watching, but the Penn State rule with number 11. You wear number 11, you're going to be good. I mean, that's just how it is. Like, the people who wear number 11, you don't get to choose it. and it's like passed down through the program. And when you get guys like Saquon Barkley, he wore 11, he passed it down, and it's eventually made its way to Abdul Carter. And now they've got this like new rookie in Penn State wearing 11 already, and he's a tank. He's another DN, and he's a freaking nature. Oh my gosh, he's gonna be a problem. But get back to Abdul Carter. He's the best DN in the draft, and seeing him paired up with Myles Garrett would be scary for any O-lineman, any O-line in general. But then you got him, going to New York, him and Kayvon Thibodeau in the DN, and Sexy Dexter Lawrence. But that's a good D line. 3 guys, you get a three tech D line. You got Dex at the good nose, and then you got the 2 DNs and Kayvon and Abdul Carter. That's going to be a good O-line, or good D-line, and that's going to be an even scarier D-line than the Browns would have if they had Myles Garrett and Abdul Carter together. Maybe. That's up for debate. But then you got Travis Hunter, who is arguably the best athlete in the draft this year. Not the best player, the best athlete. You win the Heisman, only the best player in college football wins the Heisman. And, two-way player, putting up these insane numbers, both sides of the ball. He had statistically better stats on defense, and he's entering the draft, I believe. I'm not sure. He keeps changing it up, but I can just keep hearing cornerback. And so he's probably going to stay, as a cornerback. And, if he's going to play both sides of the ball, though, he did say that if a team limits him to one side of the ball, he's just not going to play. He's going to sit out. So a team that needs him and wants him will play on both sides. And the Giants, or the Browns and Giants, will fit that system perfectly. Think about the Giants. Yeah, Malik Neighbors, one of the best rookie receivers last year, the best actually, and one of the most promising stars in the NFL right now, paired up with the quarterback of their choosing. Not sure who it's going to be, but you got Russell Wilson, obviously. They just signed him, and Jameis Winston. So maybe they'll get one in the draft. Maybe they'll trade up for another quarterback for a young guy. But imagine Jameis Winston or Russell Wilson just throwing it down to either Malik Neighbors or Travis Hunter on offense. That's filthy. And then you got the Cleveland Browns, if they take Travis Hunter, he'll have paired up with Jerry Jeudy, who's a phenomenal receiver from last year. They have either the vet Joe Flacco, who's back for the Browns, great signing for the Browns, by the way. Deshaun Watson, maybe we'll have to see with that, or Kenny Pickett, basically Teddy Bridgewater. He loves his 2 gloves. It's Kenny 2 gloves now. We got Kenny 2 gloves over there, but it's going to be very interesting to see who takes who, but I do think that the Browns will take Travis Hunter, and then the Giants will end up taking Abdul Carter. I think the Browns' situation is a better fit for Travis Hunter, and plus, if they do really want Shedeur, trade up for a quarterback, they'll trade up. If Shedeur doesn't fall within the first 8 picks, I think he drops, maybe first 10, because if you look at the draft order, you have Titans, Browns, Giants. None of them need a quarterback. None of them need a quarterback. Then you got the Patriots. You have Drake May, Trevor Lawrence for the Jaguars. But then you get the Raiders. The Raiders do need a quarterback. And so he could fall there. But the Raiders are very heavily going to be for, the running back for Boise State. I forgot, Ashton Jeanty. They're heavily favored for Ashton Jeanty because they've taken him out to dinners. They've been practicing with him, and they're very, very heavily favored for Jeanty right now. Then you got the Jets. The Jets could use a quarterback as well. Maybe he'll go there. But, there's a lot of spots for, any young quarterback to go to. But I do think there's a lot of good quarterbacks in this draft. Obviously, Cam Ward is gone. Shedeur. I do like Kyle McCord. He's going to be a dog, I feel like. You got a lot of quarterbacks in this draft. We have 11 quarterbacks in this draft who are good enough to play anywhere. And I do believe the Browns, if they do like one that, hasn't been taken off the board yet, they will eventually go and make a play for one of them. Trade up. Maybe if some of them fall, they'll pick them up in the later second rounds or whatever their draft pick is. So, they can build around, hopefully Travis Hunter, get a young quarterback as well. Have 4 quarterbacks in the roster. The Browns do that a lot. I've noticed that last year. They had 4 quarterbacks in the roster last year. So we'll have to wait and see what they do with that. But I do think the Browns will end up taking Travis Hunter, and Abdul Carter will then go to New York. So we'll have to wait and see in a week what happens with that. But that's my opinion. That's what I think will happen. But then again, this is my opinion. We'll have to wait and see what happens, and we'll go from there, I guess. But I do think that they would definitely both fit the systems best. If he does, if Abdul Carter does get drafted first with Myles Garrett, like, with the pairing up him with the Browns and Myles Garrett, that'd be a filthy combo and a very, very filthy combo to have. That D-line, the defense in Cleveland's really good. Their offense didn't win them games, or their defense didn't lose them games either. It's because their offense just couldn't, their offense couldn't prevail. They couldn't, make plays when they needed them to, unfortunately. But that defense wasn't the problem. Their defense was playing good all year round. It's just a matter of their offense. But that's going to be a really good addition to their defense. And even if they, get Travis Hunter, put him at cornerback, they already got Denzel Ward as well. So that'd be a really good matchup with him and Denzel Ward on both sides. Let's say they're playing man or zone coverage, it doesn't matter. They're both fast. They're both pretty young still. Or obviously Travis is young, but Denzel Ward is a pretty young guy still. And he's playing very good. So either way, it'll work out for both teams. But I do think the Browns take Travis Hunter. And then the Giants take Abdul. And then everybody else is fair game after that. We'll see in a week what teams choose, who goes where. The draft is amazing. Seeing all these young stars get drafted, brought into a new league, new light, it's amazing. So in a week's time, we'll wait and see where they all go. That's all I got for this segment. Next segment, we're going to the Browns. We're staying with the Cleveland Browns, see what they do there. We already basically gave my opinions on that, but we'll talk about just the Browns. And then after that, we're going to Nico Harrison, the GM for the Dallas Mavericks. We'll get right back to all that after the break.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jambert. First three segments, NFL Draft, Lee Corso retiring, and the NBA play-in. This segment, we're going stick with the NFL, but we're talking Cleveland. The Browns, just the Browns. A lot going on in Cleveland. There's always a lot going on in Cleveland, so let's talk about them. Hang on, let me get a sip of water. After that, we're going to Nico Harrison in Dallas, talk about the Mavericks. Before we see all that, get some water. Thirsty. That break isn't long enough. That break between 3 and 4 segments is a very short break, so I don't get enough time to drink water. But let's talk about the Browns. The Cleveland Browns are, in an interesting spot, having the draft either Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. But through my last segment, I was talking about them, I said they were going to draft Travis Hunter. And I didn't want to say why, but I know why they're going to draft him, I think. And here's the reason why. Their GM, who is, what's his name again? Andrew Berry. Sorry, I forgot his name. Andrew Berry, the GM for the Cleveland Browns. He said in the quote, in the press conference interview, he said, and I quote, you get a unicorn if used both ways. He also, quote, and I said, he's comparable to, in quotes, to Ohtani, end quotes. So he's comparing him to Shohei Ohtani and saying that, he's a unicorn if used both ways. And you don't say that about a player and don't draft him. You don't say you're comparable to one of the greatest baseball players of all time, who has 3 MVPs, by the way. One of the greatest baseball two-way players of all time, possibly the greatest two-way player of all time already, and don't draft him. You just don't do that. So that's why I do think he goes to Cleveland, just because of the fact that, when your GM compares you to the greatest two-way player of all time in baseball, you definitely don't draft. If you don't draft him, I mean, come on. I mean, you gotta draft the guy at that point. I mean, just from those quotes alone, it kind of guarantees that, yeah, he's going to Cleveland. Because, I mean, why not? He's, like I said earlier, in the other segment, if you were here for that, if you were listening to that, he is going to fit that system phenomenal. He wants to play both ways, and he said in the interview or press conference, Travis Hunter said, if I get limited to both ways, one way, I'm not playing. I'm sitting out. He wants to play on both sides of the ball. Maybe not back-to-back. Maybe, they'll play him back-to-back and give him a rest. Don't play him on offense or defense for a possession and then put him back for another two possessions. But still, he wants to play two ways, and he would fit that Brown system really well. If he's playing corner, you got him paired up with Cam Ward in the safety side or on the corners. You got paired up. It's a great corner duo. You got Denzel Ward and Travis Hunter. That's a phenomenal cornerback duo. Receivers, you get paired up with Jerry Jeudy, who is one of the most, I wouldn't say he's definitely an underrated receiver. He didn't get a lot of recognition last year for how well he did with Cleveland with his time there. And he's back this year. He's back for, another stint with the Cleveland Browns. And with a whole new, hopefully a whole new season, people are healthy again. It's going to be very exciting to see how they do. They signed Joe Flacco again as their quarterback. When they had Joe Flacco, they were winning games. Joe Flacco was a great quarterback. There's no way it's not his last year here in the league. He's a phenomenal player, but his time has come. He's been in the league for so long, and there's no way he sticks around even longer. But maybe he does. Who knows? But then, they got, like I said, Joe Flacco, probably the best vet quarterback in the league right now. Maybe behind Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, we'll see. But then he got, Kenny Pickett, signed him from the Eagles. He got his ring, and he's out. And he went to Cleveland. And, he's a great young quarterback. He's got a lot of potential. He's only in his, third year. Yeah. And he still has plenty of time to develop. Quarterbacks tend to last a while in the NFL. And, with him only being in his third year and being behind a vet like Joe Flacco, that's going to help his progress so much. And he's going to prosper into a good young quarterback when Joe Flacco inevitably retires or leaves Cleveland again. He's gonna be the one to go to. Then he got, Deshaun Watson. Obviously, it's Deshaun Watson. He's been hurt. He got hurt again in the offseason. He's probably have to sit out the first 2 weeks of the year. But if he plays good, he's supposed to be playing, the reason the Browns signed him is because the way he played in Houston. And he was a phenomenal quarterback in Houston. He came to Cleveland, didn't play very good, at all. Got hurt, and then he came back, got hurt again. I mean, if Deshaun Watson can finally, he's finally be healthy, it's probably be his last injury, hopefully. He gets all the rust off finally after 2 years, 3 years. And, what he did at Houston was phenomenal. He was one of the best quarterbacks. He's probably the best quarterback in Houston Texans history. Obviously, they're a pretty new franchise, only coming into the early 2000s. He's the best quarterback that franchise has ever seen. And when he was healthy, you saw him play when he was healthy. He led them to the AFC divisional, lost to the Chiefs, or lost to the Bills, blew that lead against the Chiefs another year. It was just horrible. But you can see how good he plays when he's healthy. And he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league when he's healthy. But if he comes back from injury, fully ready to play, ready to go, and he says, I'm ready to play, I'm ready, put me in, and he proves himself, this Cleveland Browns team will be very, very good. And with them, hopefully adding Travis Hunter, and then trading up, maybe getting another, D-line, then receiver, who knows. This team is going to be a very, very good team. And especially if they don't, re-sign Nick Chubb, there's a lot of young running backs in the NFL, market right now. A lot of guys coming into the draft who are going to make a big name for themselves. One of those guys, obviously, you get Ashton Genty. He'll be gone. He obviously won't be there by the time, the Browns are up again. He'll be gone. He'll be probably the Raiders. You got a lot of other guys who could fall. You got Cam Scatterboo, phenomenal running back for ASU. Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. A sleeper, Khalil Mullings out of Michigan. Maybe even, Donovan Edwards out of Michigan. Travis Etienne's little brother out of Georgia. There's a lot of good players. A lot of good young running backs in the draft this year. And it's going to be very interesting to see what the Browns do, how they, handle all these guys coming in, what they want to do with them. it's going to be exciting. The Browns are going to be one of those teams this year that either going to be, it could be like another 2021 situation, 2021 situation where, they got Baker Mayfield and they won playoff games. They won one playoff game, but still, they beat the brakes off Ben Roethlisberger. And it's going to be one of those years where they come in with force, come in and dominate, or they're going to end up, just being a bad team again and rebuild and tanking for next year again, which I really hope is not the case, because I do, even though I'm born and raised Detroit Lions fan, always and forever, I do enjoy watching the Browns. I've always enjoyed watching them since, Baker Mayfield got there. That's when I started watching them and, actually caring for the team, hoping they do well. But with him gone, I still enjoy watching the Browns. I don't really, enjoy watching the Browns, but I did watching Jameis Winston last year. Who didn't? But watching them lose always sucked. But the team in general is a fun team to watch, and with all the these guys coming in, Travis Hunter's hopefully going to be a Brown. I could definitely, there's no way he's not after what the GM said. But it's gonna be very interesting to see how this organization reacts, what they do, who they draft, all that stuff. So at the end of the day, like I said last segment, it's all gonna come down to next week in Green Bay. Second overall pick, hopefully Travis Hunter. After that, it's up to the organization. See what they got. That's all I got for this segment. Next and final segment, we're going Nico Harris, the GM for Dallas Mavericks. Talk about him after the break. Welcome back to the GSMC Double Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jamper. Every segment prior, we are talking NBA, the play-in, NFL Draft, Cleveland Browns, and started off with Lee Corso and his retiring from College Game Day. This final segment, we're talking NBA again, but we're not talking players. We're talking GM Nico Harrison. I guarantee you, unless you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, you had no idea who this guy was before the trade. I didn't know who he was either. I don't care for the Dallas Mavericks GM organization. I don't really care for him. But until the trade, you know what I'm talking about. The most devastating, the worst trade in possibly sports history. Possibly. It's up there for sure. It definitely is up there. Definitely top 3, if not number 1. Before the trade, you had no idea who he was. After the trade, he was public enemy number 1. He's definitely not a very liked person in Dallas anymore. Definitely shouldn't, how do I say this? I'm not really going to say that. But, he has he's made a questionable decision. Trading possibly the best players in the NBA. He did trade for top 3 player in the NBA for aging Anthony Davis. And his reasoning, defense. Okay, that's fair. But the thing is, if it was like, the Lakers, Rob Pelinka, maybe, requesting the trade, yeah, maybe I can see differently. But Nico Harris, he's the one who requested the trade. He said, hey, we'll trade you guys Luka Doncic because His defense isn't good, even though it's not that bad, and he's fat. For an aging Anthony Davis and Max Christie, who by the way are both really good, but like the trade is still to this day baffles me. I will never understand why you will just trade your second best player in franchise history. I still have Dirk ahead of him just because he won a championship with them. If Luka won a championship, I would have Luka over Dirk, but just Dirk has that championship for him, so I had to put Dirk above Luka. But still, you trade the second best player in your franchise history, and he's only, like 25, 26 years old? Trading him that young for two guys who are both good, but nowhere near the Luka level, because defense wins championships, that's just absurd to me. That trade is absolutely unreal to me to this day. AD isn't playing good basketball, though. When he's healthy, he plays great basketball. He's dropping 20-plus points a night. High teens, 20 plus, getting like 9+ boards a night as well. So he's not a bad player whatsoever. It's the fact that they were willing to trade Luka, and that trade is still just absolutely mind-boggling to me still to this day. And one thing that has happened, since the trades, because it happened in February, I believe it was like February. It is now mid-April, and he just thinks he's safe. I don't mean from threats. I mean obviously I hope he doesn't receive threats. Obviously he's just a job at the end of the day. But I mean from getting fired. He sits, he stands in the tunnel. He's sitting in the bleachers, in the stands, not in the the owners, the GM booth or whatever. And he thinks he's getting all cozied up. And he thinks that since the upper management, because the upper management, they have to, accept the trade. It can't just be he proposes it and it goes through. They have to, sign off, agree with it. And he thinks that just because they did that, he's safe from being fired. And that's just absolutely not true. I think that if, at least this year, he's safe, I'll say for the rest of this year. If next year this doesn't pan out, he's gone. And there's no doubt in my mind. He said defense wins championships, and he wants to win now. You were in the You were in the championship last year with Luka. He carried you guys through the playoffs with Kyrie to the NBA championship. Yeah, you lost to the Boston Celtics, and I believe it was 5 or 6. But still, you don't trade Luka because he's quote unquote fat. When he was 250, 240. He lost that weight so fast in LA. Just get him on a plan. All you had to do was put him on a meal plan, a workout routine, and he would have lost that weight within a month. He would have lost the weight you needed him to lose within a month or so. And it still just is insane to me that he made that trade. That trade still baffles me to this day, but you can't undo it now. And, I originally thought when I saw that it was a joke. It was a prank, someone's when I saw that tweet from Shams, I thought it was a prank. I thought someone stole his phone. No one stole his phone. No one hacked his account. It was legit. And it's just really insane that he still made that trade. But go back to him being safe or whatever. I don't think he is. I think if it doesn't do good next year, at least make the play, not the play in. He needs to make the playoffs to be secure. But he's sitting in the bleachers in the tunnel, and he's getting booed or whatever, and he just thinks that people are gonna look over the fact that he traded Luka Doncic. No one's looking over that. No one is going out of their way to look over the fact that you traded your franchise second greatest player ever 2 months ago. No one's gonna forget that for a while. That trade will never be forgotten. That will be a forever remembered trade. And I don't think the Dallas Mavericks will ever accept the fact that he's gone until not only he retires, but he literally passes away. Until he literally dies, I do not think the Dallas Mavericks fans, especially people who are still alive right now to see the trade happen, and the fans who are currently live watching the Mavericks, are going to forget about that trade and forget about what Nico Harris did to the Mavericks. I do think that if the Mavericks end up winning a championship within the next 2 or 3 seasons with Kyrie and AD at the helm, I do think people will end up forgiving him. But if they don't win a championship within the next few seasons, I do believe that he will forever be remembered as the GM who ruined a franchise. He ruined the franchise that Mark Cuban spent 30 plus years building for him to ruin in 30 days. And that is just a fact. I mean, I'm not saying that, as a Dallas fan. I'm saying that as an NBA fan. As a fan of the NBA, he did an unimagined, he committed a tragedy. He committed atrocities by making that trade. I mean, what the fans thought of that originally, they protested the games. They weren't going to games. The Dallas Mavericks lost a lot of money. They lost billions or high millions, like high millions, like $800 million, like a lot of money from Luka being traded. They lost endorsement deals. They lost endorsement deals. I mean, it really is just horrible what he did. Yeah, he wants to win now, which is fine. But like I said, you were winning last year. You don't go to the NBA Finals through luck. You made it. You made it through a very competitive Western Conference last year to face the Boston Celtics in the East. So yeah, I mean, the trade by itself is just absolutely insane still. I mean, like I said, if he doesn't win a championship within the next year or 2 seasons, he will be fired. And he should never be allowed to work for another sports organization ever again, just because of that one trade. But if he does win, people will still hate on him for making that trade. Because I do think if Luka was still here, they'd be in the playoffs, not play in. They were playing great basketball with him there. They were like 5-6 games above 500, like in the 5 seed in the West, and they traded him and they dropped to the play in the 10 spot. But I mean, you just don't trade Luka, man. Still crazy to me to this day. But yeah, like I said, if they do win a championship in the next 2 or 3 seasons, 1, 2, 3 seasons, now they definitely won't win it this year. There's no way. If they make it to the finals and win, I'll be astonished. But if they win it in the next 2 to 3 seasons, I think people will end up forgiving him more than what they had. They'll forgive him, but not fully. But we'll have to wait and see in those 2-3 years if he inevitably does. Who knows? If he gets fired, him getting fired is a lot more probable right now than him winning a championship. But at the end of the day, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Only time will tell. Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. Your continuous support really means the world, so feel free to like, comment, and share. It really means a lot by sharing and, hopefully sharing this with your friends, family, to help them, listen to us. It really means a lot, so please do so. If you want to stay up to date with all things GSMC, feel free to follow us on our social medias, Instagram, Snapchat, X/Twitter, Facebook, any social media, we're on it. So feel free to look us up, follow us on there, stay up to date with all things GSMC. And thank you for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Have a good one.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to